how would you say, we talk about success all the time in leadership. We don't talk about happiness, whereas ultimately being human, being happy is what is our core, and that is what pours out then as success and passion. What is your perspective on that?
Happiness and leadership is connected, interconnected, interwoven. And why do I say that? A person who is happy shows his passion there. A person who is happy is able to be more resilient. What is resilience basically? Everybody goes through setbacks, but how quickly are you able to bounce back from your setbacks? How strong is your comeback? That defines you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our episode of Happiness Hour. Today, I have with me Siji Varghese, the founder of Leaders in Lipstick. Welcome, Siji. Thank you for joining us. Siji brings together 28 years of corporate experience across pharma, banking, insurance, and L&D. A sought-after speaker, she has conducted over 1,000 workshops impacting 80,000 participants globally. Specializing in leadership, training, people management, and women-centric programs. She's also an ICF certified life and master coach. She has co-authored The Corporate Women's Little Diary, and she has been recognized with prestigious awards like the Karamveer Chakra by the United Nations. Thank you very much. An absolute privilege and pleasure to have you here today with us.
Thank you so much, Ashu, for having me here. It's a delight to be here. Thank you.
So, Leaders in Lipstick, I think firstly that itself causes enough intrigue and for me. You are a multifaceted corporate leader, trainer, coach. I mean, I'd like to know your journey from being a banker and other corporate career rather to starting Leaders with Lipstick.
Thank you. Thanks for that question. I mean, it's like fully kind of capsuling my entire journey. In fact, I would call myself someone who just flows with the moment. Never would have I thought where I would land up with, because I'm a student of biotechnology. I was supposed to do, food technology program from the Sophias and be placed with Cadbury's, but life had different plans for me. After my microbiome biotech, what I did was an MBA in finance. And the reason why I did an MBA was also very funny. My mom used to keep telling me, we'll get a good boy if you've done your post-graduation with an MBA. And this was in the year 1995, right?
Those were the days.
Yeah, those were the days when these used to be the kind of narratives that you used to hear. And me being a science student, getting into taxation, economics, accounts was the next thing that I could never ever think about. Whatever life had in store, it took me to a pharma company working with the CFO in the finance department. Then marriage happened, baby happened, a career shift happened from the pharma sector. I moved into the banking sector very soon, heading the branches for ICICI Bank, then with Birla Sun Life, Max New York Life, handling multiple branches in Mumbai. Now, this kind of got very quick for me to move in the corporate space, leading to like 14 hours a day at the workplace. And by this time, I had two small boys at home, right? And was very difficult to say, because having a family of, two kids and a full family setup, and plus having a full-fledged, very time consuming and a demanding job profile, somewhere I had to take a call and I really did not know what next. Okay. In the year 2010, I decided to be getting into something which was intellectually intensive rather than capital intensive, because it seemed safe for me at that time. And that's how from the BFSI, the banking finance sector, to getting into the L&D space. I learned from a lot of masters, multiple things into the human psychology, behavioral sciences, multiple of them evolving, enhancing own personal space along with my professional space. The first 3 years definitely was a very, very difficult one. However, Leaders in Lipstick was something which happened in 2017. And by this time, I have been working with so many women across industries, across domains. I found most of them going through a similar crisis like what I have been going through in my journey. Now, whether I could go ahead, get into mentorship, mentoring women, like-minded women, uplifting other women, have more role models created. All of those things were in my mind, and that's how Leaders in Lipstick happened. And that's why the journey has been such an unconventional one to say. And it has taken me amazing places. So, yeah, thank you for that question.
No, thank you for sharing so candidly. But so, what is the vision and for this initiative? And share some stories with us about what's been going on in Leaders with Lipstick, or what next as well.
So if I see, Leaders in Lipstick, more than a program, it's a movement. So we have built communities around it. We have built more women around it. So what's the vision? I look at it apart from having corporate programs, apart from open workshops. It's also to, have become one of the communities which has the highest number of mentors who will do a lot of women mentoring, right? And we feel it's the need of the hour, especially with many organizations getting into the fairness space, getting into more diversity and inclusive kind of a workspace, and many flexibility in many aspects. Breaking a lot of stereotypes for women and multiple other things. So there has been a lot of shift and change thanks to the mindset that's been changed by many of the programs across. One of the biggest vision that we have is to have more women uplift another women. Your tribe, your vibe attracts your tribe. So get those kind of your tribe where we really go ahead, create those role models. That's one big vision out here. Like if I have to throw some numbers, we are just 19% in the senior management. So by 2030, we decide at least to have 30% women in the senior management, right? So that's a big thing. And very recently, statistics also says, even just increasing the women workforce in the by 50% in India, our GDP can increase by 35% more. So that's the power that we have. So why not be there and help in a small little way to get there? If I look at some examples of some transformational stories, I have known about women who have always, most of us go through this self-limiting beliefs, and we call it as an imposter syndrome. We feel we are not good enough. So sometimes all that you need is in validation, a push, and someone who listens to you and understands you and helps you uncover your potential. So there has been multiple examples where they've really found their voice, and they have gone ahead to lead high impact programs. They've gone ahead and done such high impact projects, which has really help them as well as many people around them in the ecosystem to voice up, to stand up, to get there where they never thought that they could be before. So it's a movement.
No, I'm very inspiring. And I think I would say it's amazingly ambitious that you're looking to increase the workforce from 19 to 11% by 2030. That's huge. So I wish you all the very best, and congratulations for all that you've achieved and yet to achieve so far. So
thank you so much, Ashu.
You worked with a very diverse audience. Like you said, there are women who found their voice or anything. Is there any, person who's been a huge inspiration to you, who's touched you the most, either who it could be somebody who you've uplifted or someone who's uplifted you?
So I wouldn't go ahead and say that it's a female, but I would say it's a male. There has been a male leader who has really made a difference in my life. Sometimes I always keep saying that every time. What's the role of a leader? A role of a leader is to take his team to a place where they have never been before. I always thought that I'm good for this many things. I never knew what beyond could I do. And now there was this person in my life who was my boss in Birla Sun Life Insurance. He just thought that I'm capable of doing so much more. And he really kept pushing me. And believe it or not, I reached a place which I would have never thought, even in my wildest dreams, that I could do and achieve it. So that has been one big transformation or achievement in my life, which to date, I hold it so closely. And I feel whenever I get an opportunity like that, I share this and pay it forward too. Because I feel if there's somebody who could make that difference for me, there are leaders who could do that for their team as well. So transformation is something that I've got from this particular boss.
Wow. I have had somebody like this, an angel like this in my life, who's made a huge difference. My mentor coach. And yeah, paying it forward is the best tribute to them.
True. And remembering them all the time.
So, you meet so many leaders. Can you suggest some practices that they could imbibe or work with to deal with the overwhelm and challenges of everyday, life's become dynamic, and how, especially with artificial intelligence now becoming an integral part of businesses, it's become even more difficult.
I always say that, AI cannot replace the humanness. So I feel as a leader, never ever forgo your human-centered leadership. Everything around you has to be centric towards the person with whom you are. Who is the most important person in your life? I or you, we are important for ourselves and for people around us. But at any given point in time, who's the other most important person? The person next to you. Right now, Ashu is the most important person for me. And for Ashu, Siji is the most important person. Right? Now, when you are able to know that there is somebody on the other side who is the most important person, how do you go around and respond to them? What are your actionables? What's your mindset like? We all are driving numbers, but it's important to know behind the numbers, the humans are driving the numbers. And behind the numbers are the humans. So, as a leader, unless and until you do not practice service leadership, you do not practice empathy, you do not practice that humanness, we are not reaching anywhere. Right? So let AI come. Let AI make our life more convenient and easier. Let it do all those work which we did. Really, it's redundant and it's routine. Let it do, or give us some ideas too. But what we need to remember is not losing touch with the human that we are with. So as a leader, what are you leading? You're leading the humans. Ensure that you're doing with utmost humanness, with the core of you, what you are, right? That's the purpose and the meaningful connections we have. So I feel a leader should never be away from connecting with that humanness.
I so resonate with you, because when you're really authentic and true and vulnerable, that's when you build those real connections which last you forever.
Absolutely.
So, any story about transformation, building resilience, confidence, where you've seen somebody really change their life and you say, I'm really glad. This is what makes me want to keep doing this every day.
So, couple of examples. One just happened quite early after I quit my job and I started with my career in learning and development. At that point in time, I never thought about it or reflected on it so much so. But this particular experience made me think through what I'm doing to, getting it to a next level by mulling over what happened. So there was this guy who comes and tells me after he's been through my workshop in an organization, 4 5 months later, after the workshop, we had a 3 day workshop together. After the workshop, he comes back and tells me, thanks to your workshop, I have gone back to doing what's really important for me. And I was like, what did I do differently? At that point in time, I was not able to, imagine what's the value that I'm bringing in, because I still was to know nuances of a lot, many things. And this guy says, Sujit, the passion with which you delivered those 3 days, I had left the hope of getting into IRS, IFS, or IAS, UPSC exams. I tried multiple times, but I did not succeed. I finally took up the job in this particular bank. And you suddenly come in one fine day, get me a 3 day workshop, and I realized that if this lady can deliver with so much of passion, what stops me from going back and redoing things what I love to do? He goes back, gets into a village. He goes and makes the students of a school, he teaches the students of the school simultaneously practicing for his IAS exams. Believe it or not, he ranked in the top 50 in IAS in the country. And this was 3.5 years after he quit his work. So he was continuously working on it. And finally, when his name comes in the local newspaper, because he cleared the exam, he writes to me with this beautiful note. He says that if it was not for you that day, I would not have lived to the dream that I really was pursuing for so long. So I feel this was
Wow.
one of my most beautiful, you could say, after that, a lot many things changed for me, because I felt if this is what we can do, why not give it all out, because
Yeah.
what do you say? It was quite very overwhelming, right? So those are some of the classic examples I feel it just worked for me. Yeah,
No, it's fulfilling. It really makes you believe in the human potential and say it is possible.
absolutely. In fact, there was one more that I want to share. And I lost my father pretty early in my life. And in most of the workshops, when we are talking about the softer aspects of our life, I tend to share about my dad. Okay, and it just comes very naturally and spontaneously, saying that how empathy works. That was one classic example I talk about. Now, this lady, she was postponing her visit to her mom and her dad for close to 2.5 years. And post this workshop, within the next week, she picked up the tickets and she went ahead and visited her mom and her dad. And exactly a month later, her dad transcends for the next journey. And she writes to
Oh
me,
my God.
she looks out for me in the Facebook, writes to me a message, and she says, thanks to you, because of you, I am with lesser regret and guilt. Because if it was not for you, I wouldn't have made that trip to my parents that week. And probably I would have regretted for the rest of my life not have visited my dad for the last time.
That is so touching. That is really touching. I mean, it's makes human life worthwhile completely.
So I keep thinking,
Getting somebody unstuck in such a big way is overwhelming and grateful, really a blessing.
and I always think, Ashu, sometimes you're made to do something, just do it. Because you never know how it touches the person on the other side.
Correct. How what you say, how it lands.
Exactly. And
Yep.
what impact it creates for them.
Yep. So, okay. Something I've always told you, and I'll say again, you smile and your smile lights up spaces.
Thank you so much.
What is the secret to being happy and smiling all the time?
Um, that's a very difficult question. It's I always used to, as a child, I used to be bullied in my school and in my college for two of my things. One was my curly hair, and they would make those memes and those fish ponds, just really criticizing my Sai Baba wala curly hair. And another used to be my teeth. My teeth used to always stand out, right? And because of which I've always turned out to be a child who would be smiling irrespective. But as I started growing up, it used to weigh me down. Whenever I used to smile, I'll be like, wanting not
Oh
to
dear. Oh
show
dear.
my teeth, because once you're so bullied, you kind of lose
Yeah.
out on something and you feel it's better off. So if you look at my marriage pictures, you will feel, oh my God, this girl seems to be in extreme distress while getting married, because there's not a single smile in her picture. And but they do not know it was because everybody keeps saying, Siji, don't open your mouth so much. It doesn't look good on you. All of those things. But having said that, I really wouldn't know because ever since I have seen the pictures in from a baby time, I've seen always there's been a constant smile. So I feel I've been blessed to born as a happy child. It was always there. It's not that I'm all the day happy. There are times when I could go through really shitty low times, but somewhere I can manage to keep laughing. There has been multiple opportunities when people would say, Siji, muh band nahi kar pati hai. And because of that, she looks as if she's laughing. So, because my teeth is big, all those kinds. But I have always felt, um, maybe it's because I lost my dad too early in life. I realized the importance of spending whatever you have, cherishing whatever you have at that point in time. It became even more important for me. because his vacuum, his void shifted a lot many things in my perspective. And after that, there has never been an opportunity when I'm not grateful for what I have. And that just bursts out into a small little smile. So I guess multiple things that
A
just brings
painful
that.
but yet a very, very significant lesson. But yeah, it's amazing how you have, it's like a constant, you know, reverence to your father.
And
It really is. It's beautiful.
you.
Uh, how would you say, we talk about success all the time in leadership. We don't talk about happiness, whereas ultimately being human, being happy is what is our core, and that is what pours out then as success and passion. What is your perspective on that?
Happiness and leadership is connected, interconnected, interwoven. And why do I say that? A person who is happy shows his passion there. A person who is happy is able to be more resilient. What is resilience basically? Everybody goes through setbacks, but how quickly are you able to bounce back from your setbacks? How strong is your comeback? That defines you. What kind of person are you when you are emotionally balanced? So happiness ensures that these things are taken care of you for you. The empathy part, the resilience part, the humanness, the connections, the deeper, meaningful connections, the purpose driven, which is your core. Anything which aligns with your core, it just connects. And I've always see that how you show up makes all the difference. It's how you make people feel in your presence. It makes all the difference. Because if you make people feel miserable in your presence, obviously it's going to impact everything around you. It's a cascading impact. But how you make yourself show up in that space, how you make people feel in your space, defines a lot many things which is falls in place for you. So happiness and leadership is interwoven. An unhappy leader will create an unhappy team, and an unhappy team cannot be productive. An empowering leader has happiness, and an empowering leader creates happy teams. And so without stress, without burnout, we still can manage to drive numbers. We can still drive to get the best from all the human beings around us. And that's why I see being happy, you get things naturally done because your vibe and aura just attracts it's a magnet.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's why I do what I do. It's because I totally agree and believe that happiness is the core of it all. One piece of advice for the young leaders.
Okay, I feel one of the things that sometimes we find joy in the smallest things, right? When you're growing up, you feel it's external, and you definitely look for things, everything that's external. So as a young leader, if I were to talk to my sons today, I would say find your happiness in the little joys of things. Be grateful, be reflective, because these small things that you're doing is what is going to be creating that bliss and the joy in your life. So for leaders, whatever you do it with your full heart, with authentic, with that space of, where you're operating with a lot of happiness. So find the joys, celebrate those small wins, come outside your comfort zone, get into the zones where you have to address your fear, and just know that this is what the life is. Instead of asking, why me? I ask, why, what is it actually teaching me? What is the lessons that I get? If I have difficult bosses, if I have difficult team, I would say, why not? These people are allowing me or giving me a chance to learn how to manage and deal with difficult people early in life. And I'm going to get better and better with that. My resilience, my emotional balance, all of that is just getting better and better. So I feel as leaders, find joys in the small things, celebrate wins, be more resilient, understand the most important person is next to you. That could be your team member, that could be your boss, that could be your partner, that could be your client. But ensure your humanness stays with you and stay happy.
And I'm happy to be next to you right now in your presence. So
Thank you, Ashu. It's likewise, it's a mutual feel. Thank you so much.
thank you so very much for being with us today. I really appreciate, the passion and the joy with which you've shared everything with us. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ashu. And I really know that this is a very beautiful project that you're into. And with so many people sharing, I'm sure you're getting elevated every time you hear about an experience. I really wish you all the best in the world. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you.